Salute to all the diehards. This is Diehard Giants Live, and I am your host. I am Jarrell on IG and Twitter. Salute to everybody. It's another week, another loss for the New York Giants. We're gonna get into it. Steph is supposed to be joining me. She'll be. I think she has some technical issues, so she'll pop in. She can. Steph. She can come in, and we'll get in on the conversation seamlessly. So she can pop in whenever she wants. Let me salute everybody in the chat. Salute to Dwayne, my guy. Salute. Wonder Woman is here as always. Salute. Kareem Grant, my guy. Salute. Like y'all here every week, man. So please believe me when it is appreciated. I much appreciated to y'all for actually looking at me talk about the Giants every week, especially for a team that is 2 and everything. Yeah, salute, Kareem, salute. Yeah, man, the Giants. We might as well get into it. I don't think this is going to be a long show. It's not really much to talk about because it's kind of the same thing. I don't want to come here every week and just, be a broken record. Like we already know what the hangups are when it comes to this roster. Coaching is a little bit of an issue. The way this roster is constructed by Joe Shane, our GM, is a little bit of an issue as well. But we go through this stuff every week. So it's kind of hard to be a content creator and just try to think of new ways on how to say that our team stinks, if that makes sense. So, I'm trying to do the best that I can, but salute to everybody for watching. Salute to everybody in the for the replay gang that will watch this later on. Like, subscribe, and yeah, let's get it going, man. The New York Giants once again lose to the Washington Commanders. This is the first time the Commanders, or the other name that they used to be called, I don't want to say it just in case if it offends anybody, but the Washington football team beat us 2 times this year. I don't remember the last time that happened, to be honest, because I don't know, the Giants for the past 10 years or so haven't been really a good team. Been like off and on, but for the most part, we haven't been a good team. But one thing is for certain, though, we was always better than Washington. Those are 2 games we usually win. We usually sweep them. We usually have their number. We've been a bad team and lost like draft position because we keep beating the Washington football team. So, yeah, man, they swept us this year. They got their quarterback, Jayden Daniels, documented from Hard Knocks. If you watch Hard Knocks over the summer, the Giants actually wanted Jayden Daniels. Wanted him bad. Wish they could move up, but Washington wasn't having it. And they got their quarterback, and I don't blame them. Jayden Daniels has been outstanding so far, and he's been the rookie of the year. Not saying that, he's lit us up yesterday. I know they have 27 points, but, Jayden Daniels didn't, throw the ball everywhere. It's not like he had, 300 yards passing, 200 yards rushing or anything. We pretty much contained them, but, we're a bad football team, so we was making mistakes on offense and defense. Salute Geraldine, First Lady of Die Hard. Salute. Thank you for joining us. So let's get it going, man. Let's get into Daniel Jones. 20 completions, 174 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It was the first time Daniel Jones has thrown a touchdown since 2022, the year that we actually went to the playoffs, the first year of Brian Daboll and Joe Shane has been here. So, it's been a very, very long time. We've been bad at home. Daniel Jones himself has been bad at home. Yeah, man, he threw a couple touchdowns. Obviously, you could see by these yards, it wasn't, he wasn't lighting the Commanders up. Let's just say that. And in the first half, all we did was run the ball. Daniel Jones had 0 passing yards in the first half. That is something I don't know if I've ever seen before, especially in the NFL, but it happened, and it happened to us. Brian Daboll obviously had a game plan against the Commanders, and it worked in the first half. But if your game plan is going to be, getting the ball out of your starting quarterback's hands, that should already tell you enough. Hey, I got Steph here. Steph, you ready? You good? Just give me the thumbs. Okay, Steph is good. Hold on. Steph, good.
I'm good, Jarrell. I don't know what's going on with my roadcaster, so I'm on with the my little client microphone.
My word. It is all good. I'm glad you did it. Just to have your face on the screen is good enough. So you good other than that? Like everything's good?
Everything is good. I'm telling you, I'm here for emotional support only because I did not catch the game Sunday. So I can, when it comes to, I'm interested in your analysis. I've been reading about, what's been happening.
Hmm.
And I can chip in if we're going to talk about the overall state of the Giants.
Yeah, we definitely gonna talk about that. We definitely gonna talk about that. So when I once I talk when I do talk about this and the game go, you can just go along. You don't. Let's just say this: the Giants are so bad at this point, you don't have to watch the games. So if I invite you on the show, yeah, it will always just be for emotional support, whether we win or lose. Because now at this point, if we start winning games towards the end of the season and it kills our draft position, yeah, I'm going to need emotional support for that shit too. Because we are terrible. I was telling the chat, like Daniel Jones had a 20, like you can see on the screen, 20 completions for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was the first time he threw a touchdown since 2022 at home.
Wow.
Yes, it's been 2 years. All last year he did not throw a touchdown, and it took 9 weeks for him to throw his first touchdown at home this year.
Wow. Wow. From what I understood, though, he played well, particularly in the second half.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, well,
Jarrell is like, well,
eh, well, when you say well, and it's 20 completions for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first half, Daniel Jones had zero.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So Brian Dable, obviously the game plan was for us to run the ball. But it was kind of weird because the first half we ran the ball a lot. In the second half, because we were down, it's almost like they had to throw the ball. So for a head coach to have a game plan of doing nothing but running in the first half, that kind of shows you his faith in his starting cornerback.
Yeah.
So you get like even though Daniel Jones didn't, I can't say he didn't make any mistakes because the end of the game he made a mistake that cost us. He wasn't the reason we lost, but he's the reason we're not winning, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the game plan is to get the ball out of his hands by any means necessary, it seems like. So yeah, that we can't win games like that regardless of who we're playing. We'll talk about, especially when we talk about who we're playing. I'll talk about that later because our next opponent is quote unquote the worst team in the league, other than us. So now I'm saying like we're gonna talk about the Panthers game. We play the Panthers in Germany. It's actually an early game.
Early
Like
game.
in order for us to watch this, we have to actually get up early on a Sunday morning and watch this. So,
Yeah.
but to finish with the this game,
Mhm.
yeah, Daniel Jones under 200 yards again. He's done that multiple times this year. Tyrone Tracy, our rookie running back, we got in the fifth round, had a pretty good game. 16 carries for 66 yards. Nothing too crazy, but he only had 16 carries, so you don't really expect him to do that much. But in the first half, he was killing. Like we was definitely running the ball very, very well against the Commanders, like at like 7 yards a clip almost. Like, but we couldn't get into the end zone when we got down there.
Right.
That's the big reason. Like we scored 22 points. That's the most points we've scored. Like that's like a onslaught for us. Like that's cooking with gas when it come to us scoring 22 points.
Right.
Um, yeah, but Malik Neighbors, obviously a very talented kid. Daniel Jones, I saw, to be honest, I know a lot of people probably would not say this, but I watched the game twice. I
Mhm.
usually watch it like 3 times, but only could take it twice. It looked like at one point we were close to the red zone. Daniel Jones seemed like he looked him off
Mm.
while he was open. And it looked like it was his first read. Like when he hiked the ball, he stepped back. His first read was Malik Neighbors, and he didn't throw to him, and he threw it like to his second read, who was Darius Slayton on the left hand side. So I don't know if something personal going on between them two because Malik Neighbors, like after games, it seems like he's a rookie, so he doesn't know how to answer questions as a professional yet.
Mhm. Mhm.
So when reporters ask him or why he didn't get the ball, he has the nerve to actually answer honestly.
Mhm.
Not saying that, he's not saying like Daniel Jones is a bum or we have a bad quarterback or anything, but
Right.
it's been a couple times that he said, well, if you watch the tape, I was open, or I don't call the plays, or something to that effect, like it's not his fault. I actually don't like that from a
Right.
rookie. I
Right.
don't like that from a vet, let alone a rookie.
Right.
At this point, I believe Brian Dable might have lost the locker room or is definitely slipping because he has rookies who really hasn't done anything in this league yet, voicing their opinion on the offense to the media. That is a no go, especially in football. That might, you might could get away with that a little bit if you were like a high draft pick in the NBA
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
even in well, not even baseball because they don't really play that either. But in football, they really don't play that. They'll sit him or a whole offense could freeze him out,
Mhm.
and we're losing anyway, so it really doesn't matter if they do freeze him out. So Malik Neighbors, I don't know, for lack of a better phrase, you need to watch his mouth a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty much our offense. I don't know if you have anything to say about that. I know you didn't watch the game, but our offense is still our offense. I don't know if you have any questions. Like nothing has changed since the last time you've been on the show. So is
Well.
Brian Dable
Mhm.
calling plays for Daniel Jones not to mess it up? It looks like.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. You already know how I feel about Daniel Jones.
Hmm.
But what I wanted to ask you about last week and even the week before
Hmm.
was Tyrone Tracy. Like
Hmm.
I've been impressed with him. I've been impressed with his running. And who's ahead of him on the depth chart? Who was ahead of him, or maybe still is?
Devin
Single.
Sing Devin Singletary was,
Yeah,
but
he
he's no
been
longer.
playing. Oh, I was about to say. It seemed like Tracy's been playing better than he has.
Nah, he's one of the first. Usually, especially in football, you usually don't lose your job to injury.
Hmm.
But I think since we were losing, Devin Singletary got hurt, and Tyrone Tracy came in and did a pretty good job. And Devin Singletary hasn't. I mean, he's seen the field. He's got a couple carries, but like you could tell, his job was taken.
Right.
I almost don't like that, even though I do believe Tyrone Tracy is a better running back at this
Hmm.
point. But to lose your job because of injury, I don't like. It seemed like if he was better than Devin Singletary now, he should have been better than Devin Singletary when the season started.
Yeah, but
So
do you go ahead?
I was just going to say, so why didn't you give him the job then? Like, don't not give him the job because he's a rookie.
Right,
Like,
right. Well, that's true too. But is it possible that Singletary did beat him out in training camp, but then once the season started, Tracy moved ahead?
are you? Yeah, that I mean, don't get me wrong. That's definitely possible. He could have developed fast enough that, say, if he didn't catch a lot of the offense because he is a rookie learning the playbook, maybe it took him a couple weeks to get the playbook together. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve the job, but it just
Yes.
feels kind of weird when people lose their job to injury for me.
Right.
I don't usually like that
Yeah.
because there has to be a reason why that person didn't start before. Like I don't know, just put a microscope under the coaching and the development part of
Right.
it. So why wasn't he starting before? Like you just drafted this kid. He doesn't have any mileage on him. Um, he's he's just as fast and just as explosive as you saw him during the summer.
Mhm.
So nothing has changed when it comes to that. So I'm guessing, like you said, maybe it's because of the playbook and the development. Maybe he leapfrogged Singletary because of that.
Yeah, because
Maybe.
you know, he's looked pretty good, and the games. I mean, I missed this game, but the other
Mhm,
games that I saw, I've liked what I've seen from him. And not that I'm not saying Singletary is not a good running back,
mhm.
but for a rookie, I was just like, wow, this kid is, doing his thing.
Yeah, he was actually my most intriguing rookie that we got in the draft because Tyrone Tracy is a wide receiver turn running back.
Right.
He hasn't even played a whole season at running back yet. Last year,
Mm.
I think at the beginning of the year, I think he was a wide receiver at Purdue, and they changed him to running back. So that's really, really rare when a player just changes positions, get drafted, and excels at that position in the next level. That doesn't happen hardly at all,
Right.
especially when it's a completely different position.
Right.
Like usually, if you're a wide receiver, you're primarily on the outside, you move to the inside and stuff like that. Or if you're a right tackle, you move to left. He was a wide receiver that moved to a
Mm.
running back and is excelling. Like that hardly ever happens.
Right.
Very, very rare. So that should tell you just his talent level has to be off the charts just because of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into the defense. The defense. This is the first game that I can actually say that our defense probably let us down.
Mm.
Um, we still lead the league in sacks. Like I think we have 35 sacks on the year. Um, Dexter Lawrence, he didn't have a sack this game. And matter of fact, we didn't have a sack this game altogether. And it was the first week that we didn't get one.
Mm-hmm.
And we still lead the NFL. So that should already tell you how good our defensive line has been playing. And this has been without Kayvon Thibodeau for the past, 3 or 4 weeks. So Azeez Ojulari has been playing well in his absence. Dexter Lawrence has probably solidified himself as being the best defensive player in the entire NFL.
Wow.
Like say if he was on a good team, he would get like defensive player of the year votes. But just because he's on a bad team, then he's not going to get votes for that. Like like having that many sacks, I think he has like 8 or 9 sacks on the year.
Mhm.
To be a nose guard who is the primary or nose tackle, I should say, that's primary right in the middle of the defense, so he could get double teamed at any time between both guards in the center. That is unheard of to get like close to double digit sacks playing that position. That's not normal. It's not normal at all. I don't think I've ever seen it. Not from his position. So that
Right.
should show you how dominant he is. Brian Burns kind of had a slow start, but has come on of late, getting his sacks and pressures up. Like I said, Kayvon Thibodeau has been hurt. So Azeez Ojulari has came in and he has like 4 or 5 sacks on the year too. So our defensive line has been like an A+ for our group, but they played so well, it's kind of hiding our shortcomings when it comes to like the defensive backfield.
Mhm.
Um, as you can see, Micah McFadden had double digit tackles, Bobby Okereke. Like we have a good linebacking group. I like those two,
Mhm.
but Deontay Banks, who was our first round pick last year, this is second season, and he's our number one cornerback, but I don't know if he's lacking confidence now, but he has been getting torched.
Mm.
He is the worst corner. He's the worst number one corner in the league at this point.
So what does that mean? That he's a number two?
That means he might be a number three going forward. Like if he don't step it up, like it ain't no number two. Like he's the
Yeah.
guy. Like he was our first round pick. So he's having a very, 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 very bad time. Like in 9 weeks, he's given up 6 touchdowns.
Wow.
It's by far the most in the league by a starting cornerback. So yeah, I don't know what it is. He's always had promise to me. I like the draft pick when we drafted him last
Mhm.
year,
I
but
remember that.
yeah, he's not playing. He's not even playing as good as he did his rookie year, which was last year. It's like he's a shell of himself. I don't know what it is. I don't know if the pressure's getting to him. I just don't know what it is. It's weird.
And I wonder if the losing is getting to him.
Hmm.
If he's been playing like this most of the most of the season
Correct. He
before.
the reason. Steph, what you? Well, I mean, if the loser getting to him, he need to get better. And plus, you don't know how I say like what I remember talking about Evan Neal and even Malik Neighbors when you come from these big programs and you're not used to losing. Like Deontay Banks, don't get me wrong, he came from a big school, but he went to Maryland. They know how to lose. You know what I'm saying? They're not into like the college playoff every year. They've
Right.
never been a national championship, at least not in my lifetime. So he went to Maryland. I'm not saying that he's supposed to just be a loser or anything like that, but losing is not in his DNA. But he know better than to not play well just
Mhm.
because his team is losing.
Mhm.
Because he played well in college when his team was losing, so he
Right.
should be fine. He's just not doing well. Um, we start two rookies at safety and our nickel corner. Um, Andrew Phillips, number 22. He's a very, very good rookie. He's one of the best rookies in the league this season. He had a terrible game. It was the worst game in his professional career.
Mhm.
And Tyler Nubin, who's our starting free safety, he had a lot of missed tackles too. It was probably his worst game of the year too. So even though like Washington, I'll put up the total yards and stuff after this slide.
Mhm.
They didn't have that many yards. You know, they had a lot of points. It was 27, but it's not like they marched up and down the field on us.
Right.
It was just at certain situations, like on third down, we couldn't get off the field because these two rookies was missing tackles or missing assignments and stuff.
Right.
So even though our defensive line is good, our linebackers obviously look at the tackles that they had 20 tackles combined with both of them. Our young defensive backfield starting two rookies and the other guy is a second year player. They had a terrible time. And Washington's wide receivers ain't even built like that. They have Terry
Mhm.
McLaurin who beat Deontay Banks for 2 touchdowns yesterday.
Mm.
And those were the only two catches he had all game.
Wow.
So, you know, in the red zone, Deontay Banks got cooked, but it's not like they have a wide receiving core that should be killing us like that.
Right.
Like they have a good rookie quarterback, but other than that, they didn't start their number one running back didn't play, Brian Robinson Jr. So they had just as many yards and stuff that we did, but I don't know. Our defense, it was the first time I could actually say our defense didn't play well, regardless of how our offense played. Like our offense is our offense. Our defense has been our calling call all year. Like we've been in the middle of the road, in the middle of the pack, or in the top 10 in defense since like the second game of the year. Now we kind of slid down a little bit because of this last game.
Right.
So I'm gonna get into the the team yards. As you can see, a lot of this is pretty even. Like I go through this every week. Like the total yards is 358 to 326. When you look at the total yards, the passing yards, the rushing yards, the yards per play, everything is pretty much even.
Mhm.
But the problem is, if everything is pretty much even, why do we keep losing games? Like we're not getting blown out. Like teams aren't really necessarily outplaying us. I don't want to stroll too fast to get people
Right.
dizzy. Hold on. Uh, look, first downs, third
Oh.
down, fourth down, total plays is damn near identical. The amount of sacks we had zero, like I said, they only had two. So it's not like Daniel Jones was running for his life or anything.
Right.
Punts, penalties, everything is damn near equal. We even beat them in the time of possession by 4 minutes, which isn't a lot, but it's pretty much equal. That fumble, they didn't have any turnovers. That fumble was the mistake that I said that Daniel Jones made at the end of the game.
Right.
And it was a fumble on a screen pass. It wasn't even a regular passing play. So if we can't even do screen passes without a quarterback getting hit, what the hell are we doing? That's why Brian Dable keep just running the ball.
Right.
And because of that mistake and because of that fumble, Daniel Jones now I think he's number one in fumbles since he got drafted in the entire NFL.
Wow.
Like he has more turnovers and more fumbles than any player in the league since he's been drafted.
Yeah. Well, he got a bunch of them his first 2 years.
Yep. First 3 years.
First 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that since Brian Dable has gotten here, they did tighten up a lot though. So I will give Daniel Jones that he has done I wouldn't say wonders because he still makes mistakes, but he definitely does not make as many turnovers and mistakes as he used to do
Yeah.
in his first 3 years. It was outrageous his first 3 years. But he's
But go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, but he just survived, enough for us to see him fix those mistakes. But lately, this game and the game before that, and the end of the game in the fourth quarter, has been brutal mistakes. This past week he had a fumble. Last week in the fourth quarter, in the last two drives, it was a fumble and an interception.
Mm,
So in the last 2 weeks, even though he's cleaned up the turnovers, Brian Dable has cleaned it up enough for him to be comfortable to clean up the turnovers. The last two games, it hasn't been that. It was Daniel Jones' fault that he lost all of those.
yeah.
So
I was gonna say part of cleaning it up though is putting constraints on turning him almost into a game manager. Like, don't
exactly.
we're gonna run the ball. We're not gonna give you too much. Um, because that's you can say a lot of the fumbles his first 3 years because he was young,
Hmm.
but they were actually saw him as a viable quarterback, letting him do quarterback things.
Yep.
Lately they was like, nah, we're gonna have
Yep.
to dial that back a little bit.
Yep. So that's why when I see a lot of fans on Twitter and stuff, Facebook, whatever, even in person, I have a couple fans like tell me to my face, like Daniel Jones isn't like he didn't play bad, so how can you blame him for the loss?
Right,
You blame him for the loss because who he is and the way that they're calling plays because of who he is.
right,
That's why you can blame him. It's not like he's making a whole bunch of mistakes. Like he had one, like I said, but that was the only really mistake that he had all game.
right,
But if you're going to have a coach that don't believe in you for any reason, and he's running the ball the whole first half, and you have zero passing yards in the first half, that should show you it's not like
right,
we're not winning the games because of Daniel Jones. Yeah, you could say it's not his fault, but because of who he is, that's the reason why our plays are called like that.
right. That's a good point.
So a lot of people have to think about stuff like that. There are reasons why Brian Dable ran the ball all first half, like all first half. We look like I don't know, like if you watch college football, we look like Army or Navy or something like. We looked like we was running even though we didn't. Like we could have ran the triple option and I wouldn't have been shocked, or the wishbone or something like. We was old Oklahoma. Like we was playing football like when Jim Brown was playing and stuff like that. We look like the old Browns, just either counter, belly right, belly left, sweep. Like it was all running plays for the whole first half. He had zero passing yards. I don't think I've ever seen that. It was weird, man. Look, Dwayne said if we lose to the Panthers, man, if we lose to the Panthers, so we could get on to that because this game, it is what it is, man. Like we're gonna lose close games because we are a bad team. Um, it's almost the exact opposite of Brian Dable's first year here, and we was, bigging up the team. We had all those close wins. The year we went to the playoffs,
Mhm,
um, all those close wins, and we had an easy schedule.
mhm,
He won Coach of the Year because at the end of games he was actually aggressive and we weren't making mistakes and we were winning games, close ones.
right.
They were all close. This time all the close games are losses. Like I don't even expect us to win anymore. So
Wow.
that's not just on Daniel Jones. That has a lot to do with coaching and Joe Shane, the way he um re- reconstructed this roster. His first, even though I did at the time, me just as a fan watching the drafts, I actually liked his first two drafts.
Mhm,
But in hindsight, if you look at them, both of them was absolutely terrible. Both of them. Last year's draft and the year before that, their first year, um he had two top 10 picks.
yeah,
Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal. One is a
mm,
complete bust that can't get on the field, and one, I don't know. I would say I definitely would not consider Kayvon Thibodeau a bust. But do I consider him a Pro Bowl player? No.
no, he hasn't met expectations.
Right. He hasn't met expectations.
Yeah.
Very good way of putting that. But he's not a bust. I think people throw busts around way too much. Like if you're an average player, if you get drafted in the top 10, or if you get drafted even number one overall, if you have a like a successful career, like you're still in the league and you're just an average player, you're not a bust.
Right.
That just means you didn't exceed any of the expectations that they had for you. You shouldn't have been drafted that high, but you're not a bust. Being a bust is like Evan Neal, like
Evan.
so far, because it's still early on him too. It's only been 3 years, but for you to be drafted in the top seven, he was picked seventh overall, and now can't even get on the field as a backup.
Yeah. That's
Like,
busty. I
yeah,
don't know.
that's bust.
I don't know. You said you what did you say it was it's kind of early. It's 3 years. No, no.
Yeah, the only reason I say that is because he did start the first 2 years. This is his first year not starting. But to me, like he can't even be a swing tackle when your starting tackles get hurt. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you look and when like I think at the end of the year, I might do it after this week because we have a bye week. I think I'm just gonna take a week off. But I was
Hmm.
thinking about having a show, but I think I probably will wait till the end of the year to actually discuss all of Joe Shane's draft picks. If you look at it, Steph, it is terrible as of right now. But this last draft, some will argue that we had the best draft class this year, though, of the whole league.
Right.
Like our team is starting multiple rookies,
Right.
a few on defense, only one on off, no, two on offense. Our number one wide receiver is a rookie. Our number one running back is a rookie. Our number one tight end is a rookie.
Mhm.
So we already start three rookies on the offensive end. On defense, I start in nickel, I start in um, free safety, and one of our starting defensive tackles, who is Elijah Chapman, he wasn't even drafted. He's starting now.
Wow.
So we have three rookies on both sides of the ball starting. That is unheard of in the NFL. That does not happen.
Right.
That's a And plus that's the main reason why we're a bad team too. We're not supposed to have three rookies starting
Right.
on each side of
Right.
the ball.
Right. Right.
So it just is what it is, man. Like his draft class has been terrible, but this one so far, because you can't really look in hindsight for the current one. We just know that they're starting and they're producing.
Right.
All of them, all of the rookies that we've been playing this year have produced and have been good for us. I said the defensive backs had a bad game, but overall, they are very, very two good rookies that are going to be very good players in this league, I think.
Right.
But
Right.
them other draft picks, like I don't know, I don't even want to name them, but it's a long list of players that either not on the team anymore that you haven't noticed,
Right.
or is this player that's still on the team that can't even get on the field. Like what's up with Jalen Hyatt?
Yes.
Much as
Well.
much as I loved him coming out of the draft, and I was glad that we drafted him in the third round, he
Yeah.
has one catch on the season, Steph.
But I'm wondering how much of that is Jones though. Like he's a burner,
Right,
you know. And
right.
Jones,
Yep.
he I mean, he used to be able to throw down the field with some accuracy, you know.
Right. Yeah, man. I almost don't even know what to say when it comes to Jalen Hyatt. To have one catch on the season,
Yeah.
and this is week 9. Like, come on, man. That doesn't even make any sense. I don't care if you put him out there, just say Hike and just throw him the ball right there on the line of scrimmage. He ain't got to go nowhere.
Right.
A
Right.
screen or something. Get him on an end
Right.
around.
Right. Right.
I
That's on
kind
the coaching though.
Right. I almost make me feel like it's him.
Mm.
It's not like development or Daniel Jones or anything. I kind of gotta blame Jalen Hyatt because for you not to get on, I need to know why you're not on the field.
Right.
You don't got to be the type of wide receiver. All you do, like I know he's fast and he can go downfield. You can't do nothing else. Like nothing. You can't catch a screen pass. You can't get an end around. You can't run a slant.
Right.
Like
Right.
these are like easy stuff that wide receivers should know how to do if you're in the NFL. It can't just be like I say hike and you just run as fast as you can down the damn field. Like it can't be that because if it is that, then yeah, we shouldn't have drafted your ass. Then
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody's going to. be successful in the NFL just being able to do one thing like that.
Yeah, for sure. The Giants draft class though, at the time that Joe Shane made those picks,
Hmm.
they were considered like Evan Neal was considered a top 10 pick, right?
Yep, absolutely. I actually like his draft classes, the past, all of his draft classes.
They
But
just haven't popped though. I
right,
mean, that's the thing.
right. The
Um,
problem is I don't get paid for this. He does. It is his job to be right. Like I can
yeah,
agree with him whether
right,
he's right or wrong, but my job isn't on the line when it comes to these draft classes.
right,
Whether I like them or not doesn't matter. Or whether you or anybody in the chat like the draft classes at the time, yeah, they were cool. But if you pick these dudes and they don't develop or you can't develop them properly because of coaching, oh, Kareem said, "Is Kevin Knox a bust? He still in the league?"
I know, right?
Like, I don't even know if Kevin Knox in the league, so I guess you can consider him a bust. But at the time when he was on the Knicks, I wouldn't say he was a bust because he was average. He was just an average player. He just wasn't. He didn't exceed expectations.
Yeah, yeah,
But as long as he's in the league and collecting a check, it's kind of hard to call somebody a bust. Like I know a lot of people say that a lot of players that drafted high were busts, but they was in the league for like 14 years.
right,
That's not a
right,
bust. That just means they weren't good. Like they weren't good enough to be like all stars and stuff like that. But
right.
if you're a professional, anything for that period of time, professional athlete for that long, you didn't make millions of dollars. You bought your mom and your dad a house and stuff like that. You set your kids up for multiple generations with money and stuff like that. You might not be in the Hall of Fame or the team's Ring of Honor or anything, but if you collected a professional athlete check for like 15 years, you weren't a bust.
Right.
You weren't a bust. That doesn't make sense. At least to me. That's just personally how I feel. So let's go. I didn't want to be too long. Get people out of here. Enjoy their Thursday. I hope everybody voted. I'm not gonna get political on here. I don't care who anybody voted, but exercise your right. I got CNN over here, not listening to it, just watching a whole bunch of people scramble and stuff, talking about not even listening to it, but I'm just intrigued about everything. I got my ballot in today, so hopefully everybody exercised theirs. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't really care who people voted for and stuff like that.
Right, right. And I do want to say to Dwayne, I'm
Mhm.
not wasting a paper bag on the Giants. Paper bags. And you need your paper bags. You ain't
Word,
getting a lot of the plastics, you know
word,
what I
word,
mean?
word. Some states, I remember in Jersey, don't have bags no more. You got to bring your own,
New
man.
York either.
Oh yeah, New York is like that too. I
New York
forgot. Yeah, but
either.
definitely Jersey stopped the bag thing a couple years ago. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we can't waste the paper bag.
Nah. You get them thick ones from Trader Joe's too when they double them up.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. Love Trader Joe's. I just went to Trader Joe's last week, Steph. I'm in there every week. Love Trader
Right,
Joe's.
right, right.
Yeah, let's get back to the Giants are
Salute
two
to
and
Ron.
seven. Ron in the house. Hold on, let
Yeah.
me see. Yeah, salute to Ron. Salute, bro. Salute, salute. Welcome. Um, let's go, G Man, with a question mark. Yeah, I mean, where they going though, Ron? That's the problem. You talk about some let's go. Where we going with them? Mm. So the Giants are 2-7. Um, every time I put the numbers on here, I always think about Steph asking me, "Well, how many teams are in the league?"
Right, right.
We like 29. She was like, "Well, how many teams in it?" I'm like 32.
Mm,
So as you can see, we officially for the first time this year, because even after the first game, we were never last. We are officially the worst offense in the league when it comes to points. And this is after a 22-point barrage, Steph. Like we scored a lot of points, and we still end up being the second. I mean, the worst offense in the league. 26 in yards. Um, like I said before, middle of the road defense. We're usually in the middle, or at one point we were in the top 10 in defense. But yeah, man, this is the Giants after 9 weeks. We 2-7. We play the Panthers, who is arguably the worst
Mm,
team in the league, as you can see. They did have the worst offense at one point, but they moved up to 29th, 30th in yards, and they have by far the worst defense in the league. So because of that, oh, and we play in Germany,
mhm.
like I mentioned, Germany Sunday morning at 9:30, I believe. So I'm gonna have to wake up. Some most of the time I'm up that early anyway. But the fact that I gotta wake up to turn on the Giants is gonna be a tough morning because we're gonna be the only. Again, it's not prime time, but we're going to be the only game on, so everybody gets to see us again. And everybody gets to see the Panthers, who's the worst team, is arguably both of us. Is going to be. I expect it to be a terrible game, but you know, if we lose and we have a bye week after this game, because most people that go overseas have a bye week afterwards. If we lose this game, I would not be surprised if everybody's fired.
Mm,
I'm not expecting it because John Mara, who is, you know, co-owner of the Giants, he came out and said that he wants, part of his regret about switching coaches and stuff and him being an owner of the Giants since Tom Coughlin left is that he has been, he hasn't been patient with the coaches.
mm,
Like we had McAdoo, Joe Judge, Pat Shermer, not in that order, but we had three coaches before Brian Dable came
right,
since Tom left. So yeah, man, like if we lose this game, I'm not expecting everybody to be fired, but if we do and he fires them, one or both of them, I would not be shocked.
right,
Even though he said he wasn't going to. That don't mean nothing. Like it's different when the embarrassment is firsthand and it's happening right in front of your face.
right.
I don't know if if I was the owner, I don't know. Like I think the question mark is still out on Joe Shane because, like I said, his first two draft classes in hindsight were bad, even though this one was excellent in hindsight. Once again, Brian Dable won Coach of the Year, and then this is happening. So I don't know if he completely lost the locker room yet. So I'm thinking if I was the owner, it would still be hard pressed to fire them because it's just a question mark because I didn't give them a chance to draft that quarterback. I do believe that Mara was the reason they re-signed Daniel Jones after that playoff run. I don't think that was Joe Shane and Brian Daboll's. I don't think they wanted to do that. I think that was ownership.
Right.
I think it was Joe Shane smart enough to only have it for another 2 years. But I think John Mara is the reason that they signed him in the first place. Because when they first came, they already declined his 5th-year option. So they already knew that Daniel Jones probably wasn't the guy. But since they had that run and had that one playoff win, and Daniel Jones actually was very, very good in that game, I think ownership said, yeah, I want Daniel back. Because especially when it came to the stuff that happened between Saquon Barkley,
Mhm.
during Hard Knocks, you can tell that John Mara wanted Saquon Barkley, but Joe Shane didn't. And he let Joe Shane have his way this time, I think, because of him vetoing probably getting rid of Daniel Jones after that playoff run.
Right.
Because it's kind of hard to, as an owner, you think about your fan base first. So if Daniel Jones get cut or just not retained after having a a good season that the Giants hasn't had forever. That was the first
Mhm.
time we went to the playoffs since Eli was here. So as a fan base, as an owner, I'm thinking that if my quarterback just did that, yes, we got blown out by Philly in the playoffs, but the week before that, when we won the playoff game, he was the reason we won. Daniel Jones actually had a very, very excellent game. So yeah, like I think he was the reason that they re-signed Daniel Jones. So because of that, it's kind of hard to, if I'm the owner, fire them when I know my decision is the reason why we might be in this mess in the first place.
Right.
You got to look at yourself in the mirror. But when you're that rich, you don't usually have to. You just fire them and get somebody else can come in here and do what
Right.
you want.
Yeah.
So,
I think that set the Giants back.
yep. I
Yeah.
remember when all of us was here, and you remember how Sight Eru was about us
Mhm.
winning the game, and what I say, I was like, well, we could be a better team next year, but we can still take a huge step back. We might not win all these games. Don't let this playoff run
Right.
fool you like we're gonna, win the Super Bowl the next
Right.
season.
Right.
And look what happened. We did get a little better, got another draft class, well, quote unquote, a little better, and we took a huge step back last season, and it's
Right.
continued to snowball ever since. So yeah, man, I don't. That's pretty much it. Like we play the Panthers. Um, we have a bye week after that. So probably won't see me for 2 weeks, I guess. Well, no, I'm gonna have a show next week because of the Panthers game. But
Right.
after that, we'll have a week off. So I'll be back next Tuesday. Um,
Yeah, I should be here.
okay, cool. Salute to everybody. Chat. Any last words, stuff, or any questions that you have?
Well, no questions. I just saw that the Giants only have 2 wins and they still seven. Like, what's going on with the other teams in terms of draft position? They moved from ninth to seventh
Yeah,
with 2 wins.
yep. It's a lot of bad teams in the league. That's all. It's a
Wow.
lot of bad teams, and plus, it's been 9 weeks, but we still got 9 more to go.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's only half the season has gone by. So everybody will separate themselves towards the end because a lot of the bad teams are going to start playing each other like we play the Panthers
Right.
or like the Panthers won last week and they beat Tennessee who sucked too. So they got their second one. I think they were 1-7 until they won last week against Tennessee. I think if my memory serves right. So they just coming off a win, and it's because two teams played each other. So now somebody's going to have a third win. It just depends on draft position is crazy like that. That's how it's all going to come out. It's like it might be one win depending on if we draft second or sixth.
1 win difference.
Could be a 1 win or 2 win difference. Then they get into like coin flips and stuff like that, which actually does happen in the NFL. Um, they don't do tiebreakers. Like if you have the exact same record,
Mhm.
they flip a coin to see who like both GMs or whoever represents the team, they have like an official coin flip. Whether
Mhm.
you're gonna who picks sixth or seventh, obviously. So or vice versa. Whoever has the exact same record or whatever.
Right.
It
Right.
doesn't happen often, but it happens sometimes. I think it happened like a couple years ago. Two teams had to flip a coin to see who would draft first. So that's it. Like for the first. Well, no, I couldn't say for the first time, but because all year we didn't really expect us to have a lot of wins, but now is the time that a lot of people should be looking at like the draft.
Mhm.
Like it's over. We're not going to the playoffs. Like we're going to. I think we're definitely going to be drafted in the top 8 because we're not going to the playoffs. It just depends on where we're going to be at in that 8.
Right.
And for us, who needs a quarterback, obviously the top 2 or 3 picks is ideal for us.
Right.
So yeah, salute to everybody in the chat. Any last
Salute to
words, stuff?
the No, I mean, let's go Giants.
Let's go Giants.
Let's go Giants.
Like
Woo,
that's all.
woo.
That's all we got,
Come
man.
on, that's it.
That's all we got. I mean, we're fans, so obviously, even if you're gonna miss the game, you're still gonna care about if the Giants win or lose. Like you're gonna look at the
Right.
box score or the score in general. But yeah, if you're gonna miss a game, not just you, stuff, anybody
Yeah.
in the chat or anybody listening, if you're gonna miss a game, it's okay. Like you're not missing much. Yeah, these games aren't really exciting. They're kind of excruciating to actually look at, especially these past couple games. Like from the Philly game on, well, the game. Last week's game wasn't that bad, but that Philly game pissed me off. And this one, it didn't piss me off because I'm thinking about draft position, but it definitely was a game that we could have and should have won. Let's just say that. Like there's
Yeah.
a couple mistakes, and if we wasn't a bad team, we would have won. It's
Right.
not. It's not a talent thing.
Right.
It's the actual team and making mistakes at crucial times thing, and not just Daniel Jones. Multiple players. It's not just him.
Right.
I don't want to just bag on him. It's multiple players making multiple mistakes, and not just players, coaching staff as well. Brian Dable, much as I actually like him, I'm still not completely sold that he should be the coach moving forward either. Like he has made a lot of blunders as a head coach. He might not be, you know, this is the first time he's actually calling plays and being a head coach at the same time. The first 2 years it was Mike Kafka, but he took over after last year, calling plays. Brian Dable might not be the type of coach to have to do that and be the head, CEO of everything.
Right.
Like most coaches can't do that. Like you have like Andy Reid from Kansas City, who is a Hall of Famer.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's very few. I know there's a couple more, but there's very few coaches, offensive coaches, that actually call the plays as a head coach.
Right.
It doesn't happen often. So, or if you are a defensive coach, that don't mean you run the defense. Like Bill Belichick is a defensive coach. He was our defensive coordinator when we were winning the Super Bowls in the '80s and stuff, right?
Right.
But when he went to New England, they still have a defensive coordinator, even though he kind of foresees the defense. He
Right.
still has somebody like doing the play calling on defense. He
Right.
doesn't handle that. He's a head coach. He handles everything.
Right.
So it's kind of it's very very difficult. So if some of the best coaches in NFL history can't do that, it's kind of hard for a first time head coach to do that as well. Brian Dable has never been a head coach before.
Right.
We have to remember that. So yeah, man. Salute to everybody in the chat.
Salute to everybody in the chat.
Dwayne, Wonder Woman, Kareem, y'all here every week. My guy Ron from Still Knicks fans. Oh, Steph, we doing Thursday. Just nicking it, right?
Yes.
Yep. Dope.
Thursday, just thinking it. Yeah.
Just Nick is it catches on Dope Soul Steph's channel Thursday at 9 o'clock. Yeah, we talked about the Knicks. We had a bad loss last night. Yeah, Steph.
Hopefully we get the next one.
Yeah, hopefully we get the next one. Steph, you was on today. That was a great show.
Yeah.
Check Steph out. Sometimes she has shows.
Recaps.
Yeah, recaps during the day, lunchtime. I actually love them, especially like around 1 o'clock. My lunch. That's my lunchtime.
That is your lunchtime?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. 1 o'clock every day. So I was every time you go on, I'm like, yeah, Steph coming on. I'm sitting there chilling. I'll be at my desk, or sometimes I actually go to my car and sit and listen to you. I'll be in the chat and stuff. So that's what I'll be doing.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, great show today. And we had a great show as well. Like salute to you, Steph. Thanks for coming.
Of course, of course. I was vacation, sick, and even this Sunday I'm gonna be on a cruise. But being that this is a national game, they might even show it in the sports bar. We'll see.
Is it a national game? Yeah, because they're in Germany, so it's probably going to be on either Fox or CBS or something like that, or maybe just NFL Network. I'm not sure because the teams are bad. Yeah, so the teams are bad. A lot of time, like they're just putting on NFL Network. Some of the overseas games, so it's probably going to be on NFL Network. But yeah, everybody tune in if you're up or if you're not doing anything. It's going to be Sunday morning. I hate the early Sunday morning games.
I like them though. Get it out the way. I'm up anyway.
Get it out the way. You see, get it out the way maybe because we're bad, but if you were a good team and you wanted to actually watch every snap of that game, depending on what you was doing Saturday night, Sunday mornings might not be good for you.
Yeah, and it breaks up your flow. Ain't no buffalo wings at 9:30 in the morning.
Exactly. No buffalo wings. And don't get me wrong, we was talking about politics a little bit earlier too. So let me just throw a little bit of religion in there too. A lot of people go to church and stuff. I might not be one of those people, but I know the plight of having your team play the same time you're going to church in the morning. So a lot of people don't like that either. So
but they be in the pew with their phone.
Yep.
Checking out what's going on with their team.
Absolutely. As you should be as a sports fan. God know your heart. Let's just So salute to everybody. Have a good night. Enjoy your Tuesday, man. Don't let Giants stress you out and have a good week.
Yeah.
Next week.
Sure. Next
Peace.